You guys see this face right here? You see it? This is the face every young girl freaks out about nowadays. It's this face. The name Benedict Cumberbatch. It's all I hear everywhere I go. I don't know. He's starting to rise to power. That was a really dumb one. I don't know. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's all about Mike 18 here. That's all I could think of, guys. That's all I could think of for this intro. Anyway, guys, yeah, in this video, I got another review for you guys. I went to the movies today. I saw 2 new releases in the theater, which is pretty exciting. Haven't been to a movie theater in a while. Been watching a lot of stuff online, catch up, you know, and I'm still shooting a bunch of movie reviews at you guys in order to put together my top 10 list of the best films of the year, to put together a tribute video I want to make. It's a busy time of the year for me, guys. But anyway, the movie I'm going to be reviewing in this video is The Imitation Game. That's right, guys, The Imitation Game, which came out November 15th? Yeah, and I just got to watch it today, December 26th. Isn't that amazing, guys? I have to wait a month and a half to see a new release. But yes, guys, that's what happened with The Imitation Game. This film was given an extremely low limited release that was literally not released anywhere near me. And, back in November 15th, and it just got a wide release Christmas Day. Why they waited so long, I don't know. Maybe to get more people to go see it, because it's right around Oscar season. The film's going to get a lot of Oscar buzz, so it's going to take in more money. I don't know. If that was the idea, I guess it was a good idea, but then I had to wait so long to see this movie. But nevertheless, I finally did get to see it, and I had been looking forward to seeing this movie for a while since I watched the trailer, since this film has been getting a lot of buzz, especially for the movie itself, for Benedict Cumberbatch's leading performance in this movie, and it's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, so I definitely wanted to check it out, and it definitely flew under my radar. And I went into the movie thinking, yeah, it's going to be pretty good, looks like a great movie. And I went out, and I was really, really surprised. But whether or not it was the good kind of surprise or the bad kind of surprise, I will let you know momentarily. What I'm going to do right now is talk about the plot regarding The Imitation Game, and we'll go from there. So The Imitation Game, there's actually 3 stories that are being told in this film. One of the stories is being told from the present day, set in 1951, and the 2 other stories are sort of like flashbacks, or a look back into the main character's past life. One of the stories is set in the 1920s when our main character, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, was a young boy, and the other is set in the 1940s, and it is primarily set in this storyline in the 1940s during World War II. So anyway, guys, our main character in this film is Alan Turing, and he is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and he is a very intelligent mathematician who, at the time of World War II, in London, along with the team, builds a machine to break a Nazi code that is helping the Nazis advance in the war. The Nazis basically, in order to communicate with each other, they'll have this completely scrambled code that I guess they'll send to other Nazi party members or other soldiers or whatever, and they will send this to other commanders, blah, 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 through this machine called the Enigma. And the only problem is that the British and the American, nobody can crack this code. They don't know the Nazis' plans or the Axis powers' plans because they can't crack this unbreakable code. And it is up to Alan Turing and his entire team to build this machine in order to crack this code, in order to advance the Allied powers in the war. And that is their main goal, and the film is told from the perspective of Alan Turing, and it is set primarily in the 1940s during World War II, but the actual setting is in 1951. He is flashing back on his past achievements and his past accomplishments, and it is also set in the late 1920s when he was a young schoolboy. So there's like 3 essential storylines going on within this film, told at different times, and it's all going to conclude in the 1950s or in the present day in this film. So that is The Imitation Game, guys, and it's actually a pretty intriguing plot because this is a film set during World War II, and most films set during World War II, they're war movies. They show They show soldiers firing at each other, battle scenes, trench scenes, you know, all this warfare, fighting. All of that is depicted in World War II movies. However, we have a film that tells a completely different side of the World War II perspective. We have a film talking about the underdogs, the people who actually made a monumental difference during World War II. And that is the story the Imitation Game is trying to tell. And by the time this film concludes, and by the time I got up slowly out of my chair because I was left in utter speech, I was left nearly speechless by the time this film ended. I was so glad they actually got this film together, assembled it, assembled the cast, assembled the story, and got this story told, because I am glad it was told in that. And what I mean by that is The Imitation Game is one of the best films of this year, and one of the most unexpected big hits for me, in my opinion, guys, in that I walked into this movie thinking, alright, it's going to be good. I'm going to give it a B grade. It looks alright, looks decent, looks like there's going to be a few slow parts here or there. But after I got out of it, I'm like, everything was on par with this movie. Everything was absolutely on fire. The acting, the directing, the writing, the cinematography, the editing, the score was even great. I loved everything about The Imitation Game. But by far, apart from the central performance, the one thing that I really loved about this film was the story it was trying to tell, and the message it was also trying to tell alongside that story, that the underdogs are the people who do matter in certain instances. In this case, this story was completely unknown by most people. Nobody had heard of this, of Alan Turing, or the people who worked to build this machine to crack this Nazi code. Nobody knew about this story for years, 50 years. It says that at the end of this movie. The story is completely untold. And what their actions are what helped end the war 2 years before before it could have ended. This war could have gone on 2 years longer, but they ended it quicker by building the machine that they built. And I love how this movie tells their story, pays respect to their story and their work, and especially pays respect to the man, the genius that is Alan Turing. And I loved it for that reason. I love this movie for that reason. And I love how the central story is, yes, they're trying to build this machine to break this Nazi code in order to advance the Axis power, and in order to advance the Allied powers, excuse me. But there's a whole other story going on with Alan Turing's personal life that I did not see coming, and I honestly don't want you guys to see it coming either. I want you to go into this movie without knowing a thing about Alan Turing's life. So don't read about him, don't read the book this movie is based off of. I don't want you guys to read it because it's going to honestly ruin some of the excitement, some of the really emotional scenes in this movie. It certainly worked for me because I didn't know about his personal life, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but that whole storyline is damn heartbreaking, and it's actually important, especially in this day and age. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's an important storyline concerning Alan Turing's personal life and how his certain views in the 1940s were frowned upon by many people, and they're still frowned upon by some people today, even though it's more acceptable. You know what, guys? It's hard for me to say what it is because I don't want to spoil what it is. But if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what his personal life is like in this movie. And I think it's an important movie for people who are like him. And you guys know what I'm referring to if you've seen the movie. And it's a real shame because anyone who is like him probably aren't going to hear about this movie. You know, it's a very small film, but I think they should see it, and they'll actually really appreciate this film, in my opinion. And because of that, I just really, really liked the entire story as a whole, and it threw some curveballs that I didn't expect, and that's one thing I loved about The Imitation Game. Now, getting away from the story, I gotta just take a step away from the story. I want to get into the cast, because in my opinion, guys, I'm saying it right here, Benedict Cumberbatch gives one of the 5 best performances you will see from any actor in 2014. There, I said it. He was incredible. I mean, whenever you get an actor to break, okay, just like what happened to Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie, in the final 5 minutes, I nearly broke down crying, and I was fighting it. I honestly can't remember the last time I was fighting back tears in a movie, okay? But the final 5 minutes just hits you, and it hits you hard. It'll hit everybody hard, Okay? I mean, it says so much. Alright, and Benedict Cumberbatch was incredible in this movie. One thing I liked in that there's a young actor who plays him as a young boy. And he dealt with one traumatic thing as a young boy. He has to carry the weight of that and the weight of a bunch of other things on his shoulders as he's trying to build this machine. And to just have him explode in moments or have everything affecting his life. I mean, he just carries a magnificent, just depressing and heartbreaking performance. And he was also such a social outcast, and at times even an awkward guy. You know, there were things, you know, I guess he was awkward around other people, and that's what he sort of comes off as to the members of his team in this movie. And because of that, and because they depicted that so well, and because Cumberbatch depicted that so well, I mean, he just pulled it off. He just absolutely pulled it off, and I connected with the character that much more. I think we can all connect with that social outcast who is sort of, you know, being bullied or something like that. They even touch upon bullying in this movie, and I like that a lot as well. Cumberbatch just pulled it off magnificently, guys. One of the 5 best performances you'll see from an actor this year. Almost brought me to tears in the end. Now, Keira Knightley. I want to not only talk about her performance, which was very good, not saying it's Oscar-worthy or anything like that, but her character is really important, because women back in the 1940s, they had the general housewife role. They didn't step out of the house. They didn't have jobs or anything like that, or most of them didn't. Okay? And for Keira Knightley's character to be a part of this team that cracks this code, for her to be as intelligent as she is, I think she's playing a very important character, a character that I actually liked and was like, yeah, that's awesome to see a woman actually step up like that in that time period. Because I support women, you know, female power, especially in that time period. And I thought that was pretty awesome as well, and Keira Knightley did a very good job. But, guys, Benedict Cumberbatch steals the show, in my opinion. Absolutely Oscar-worthy. I mean, we had so many good performances this year. I don't think he's going to win, personally, but when you look back, I mean, he even kind of deserves to win when you look at it. He was that good in this film. All that being said, guys, this movie shell-shocked me. I didn't think I was going to even remotely care for this movie as much as I did going into it. I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure it was the story and Cumberbatch's central role. But actually looking back, it was everything. Everything worked for this movie. The film was well directed by Morten Tyldum. I hope I'm saying his name right. Excellently directed, incredibly shot, one of the best looking movies of the year. The shots that they used were great. They were all stationary. There was not too many handheld shots or anything like that. The movie looks incredible with this, in regards to its cinematography. One of the best shot movies of the year by far. The way the film was edited, the way the story was told, the story itself, the dialogue was great. The dialogue was not only serious or dramatic or even heartbreaking in other moments, it was extremely amusing in some moments. I actually found a few scenes quite a bit funny, and I actually think that took a toll from the very serious role that the movie is going for the very serious route the film is going for the tense turns that the film takes, for the one twist that is towards the end of the film. I really think that those amusing, lighthearted moments added a lot to this movie and actually got a couple laughs out of me and my audience, and I like that stuff. It's something I didn't expect for this movie. This movie throws a lot of unexpected things to you that you don't see coming, and I like that about this film. You know, I'm going into a movie thinking it's going to be alright, but it actually just blows you completely away, and I love when a movie can do that. So the script is perfect. One of the best screenplays of the year, by far. Just the story itself, I can't stop thinking about it, guys. And I implore you to see this movie because of how great the script is. Like I said, the directing, the movie is incredibly shot, incredibly edited, very fast-paced, very exciting in moments. The movie never felt slow. I never got bored. I never felt that way throughout this entire film. And the score was also incredible. I loved every second of the score. It added to my feelings and it added to some emotion in some scenes. It just worked perfectly. Everything worked for this movie. The costumes, everything. I'm going high with The Imitation Game. I'm going to give this film a solid 9.5 out of 10 or an A. This is a near-perfect film, guys, that is completely unexpected. It's amusing, it's lighthearted, it's sad, it's emotional, it is intense at turns, it is incredibly dramatic, it's even relatable in other moments. It tells the story of a man whose story deserved to be told. It tells the story of the underdogs, the people who actually made a difference during World War II. It was historic. It worked as a dramatic biopic. Especially set during World War II. I mean, it's just everything worked for this movie, guys. If I had to complain about one thing, why I didn't even go A+, I would say that the movie, there's scenes where they're trying to break certain codes, and I have absolutely no idea what they're doing or what they're talking about in those scenes, because I don't understand that field, you know? That's not my area of expertise. Other than that, this movie is perfect. I highly, highly recommend you all check it out. It is one of the biggest surprises of the year. That's The Imitation Game. It is great, guys. I can't stop thinking about it. It was amazing. So, and it for sure is going to be on my top 10 list. You're definitely, I'm so glad I saw it before the end of the year. I really am. So, guys, 9.5 out of 10 or an A. What did you guys think of The Imitation Game? If you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.